One day in his drunken state, he was going to raise his hands at mommy, and my daddy beat him silly that day. Hello, Bussy here, and you're welcome to Life Stories with Bussy. You know, in the last 2 weeks, we have dealt with stories that had to do with best friends and betrayal. And then someone saw those two stories and then he sent in his story. This time it wasn't betrayal between friends. This one was betrayal between brothers. When I read the story, it was giving me Cain and Abel vibes. Come along with me as we go into the story. So person goes, hello Bussy, I was going through YouTube and I saw your video titled Where the Best Friend is the Enemy. In my own case, it was my blood brother. And if my brother could do what he did, how much more best friends? Let me first put it out there that I'm not a goody two shoes. I grew up like a typical boy, did everything a typical young boy would do, so I'm not a saint. My brother David was a year and a half older than me, so we grew up like twins. As far as I was concerned, we were raised the same way, nothing different. I can categorically say that he was daddy's boy. We have a younger sister who is the baby of the family, and I was the middle child. And I dare say that I got less attention from my parents. I initially tried making excuses for his bad behavior and laid the blame at the feet of our parents. But I realized later that I had nothing to do with the old folks. I think the first problem was the fact that people used to say that I was finer than him. The truth is that I looked up to David. I wanted to look like him. I wanted to be tall like him, have his sideburns, look rugged like him. But alas, I had my mom's face and she's such a beautiful woman. So imagine that I look like a girl. I noticed they didn't like people saying I was finer, so I started responding to such people that David is handsome like my daddy. In school, I won academic and behavioral awards every session. David had to repeat JSS1 and so we became classmates. When we were in school, he made friends with seniors who would bully me and he wouldn't lift a hand to help me or stop them. I reported to my mother, which was something usual, I believe, and my mother wasn't happy about it. So from David's report, mommy always supported whatever I did because I was intelligent. To be fair to mommy, I didn't think I was out of place for mommy to have scolded him when that incident happened. Did mommy treat me specially? Sincerely, no. Our younger sister was the baby who got her ways. She had her parent twisted around our tiny little fingers. I believe that things got worse when we finished secondary school and I hate my WAEC and JAM, but David failed both. I remember mommy discussing with daddy that I shouldn't go to the university just yet, that I was young and it would be fine if I waited so that both of us can go at the same time. My daddy insisted that everyone should bear their own cross, so off to the university I went without David. David didn't pass JAMB until I was in my final year. Count some years of ASU strike with that. At this point, he wasn't even talking to me again. I tried to be in his good books, but he wasn't having it. In the course of waiting for admission and going for WAEC and JAM classes, he started mixing with different people. He started smoking and not just cigarettes. He abused alcohol, he would get drunk. One day in his drunken state, he was going to raise his hands at mommy, and my daddy beat him silly that day. They did all sorts, but David just moved with the wrong guys. There was a time my father allowed him to be locked up just to try to shake him. People found it very hard to believe that we're brothers. Fast forward to some years after, I went for my master's abroad. I heard he got a lady pregnant and the lady moved in with my parents. He had no job, then on top of that, he was expelled from the school. My parents had retired and they were responsible for him, wife and child. After my master's, I worked for a while and then I came back to Nigeria. David was doing nothing. He wakes up every morning, causing one trouble or the other. One day, I tried to talk to him, but he gave me a resounding slap. When he slapped me, my mother came out and started shouting that what did he have against me? That he was jealous of what I had achieved while he was wasting away. That's how he tried attacking mommy. I couldn't take that and we went physical. My father called some of the estate security who overpowered him and my father got him arrested. The whole problem with David was one of the greatest concerns that my father had before he died, because I saw the man cry so many times in his old age, asking where he went wrong. When my father's will was read, He specifically stated that he wasn't leaving anything for David because he didn't think that it would make the right judgment concerning those properties. But there was a trust fund for David's son. My father's property was split 50-50 between me and my sister. I knew that was trouble because for me, I felt that dad should just have split it into equal parts for the three of us. David said he was going to contest the will. I tried to broker peace. I told him that he should leave Debbie's properties for her, that I was willing to split my own into two equal parts. He was negotiating 70-30, that he was the first child and that it was his rights. His lawyers convinced him to accept. As if I knew what was going to happen later. I convinced Debbie to sell immediately since she was relocating to, and I decided to take mommy abroad for a while for a change of scenery plus health checks. We got corporate buyers for Debbie's properties, and I just figured that I will sort out my own later. Some of them had occupiers anyway. That was mistake number one for me. Not only did my darling brother attempt to sell my properties, he almost sold our house where my mother was staying. I called him to ask him why he would want to sell the house that my mother was living in. He said that he's the first child, is his inheritance, and that if I know what was good for me, I shouldn't bother to return to Nigeria because he can't assure me that I will go back to where I was coming from. I understood the threat perfectly. I didn't come to Nigeria, but I managed to stop him from selling the main house and my share of my father's properties. One of our mutual friends told me that he actually discussed me with some of his friends, that I stole his shine when I was young and poisoned our father's heart to disinherit him, that I have become proud and arrogant thinking that I have achieved, that he will make his promise good if he ever sees me in Nigeria. Till date, he leaves my mother's house. He sold everything I released to him and exhausted the money on what I don't know. He started to take our mother's stuff in the house and he started selling them. Someone sent his pictures to me and I cried. I couldn't show my mother because at intervals she blamed herself for how David turned out. Mommy is even too old now. Once in a while she'll tell me to call to check on him. From the pictures I saw, David is a former shadow of himself. They said that he had an accident last year and is on wheelchair. The lady who had a child for him then had two more. She left with the children and people have been sending me SOS to help him. Some of my friends can't understand why I don't want to get involved with him. They are suggesting that I bring him over here and seek medical attention for him. The only thing I did was to get a friend to get a caregiver for him and I paid. I'm married with children. Debbie too is married and she lives not far away from me. I'm responsible for my aged mother as I can't bear to take her to a home. Wow. It's heartbreaking to hear about your challenges and the pain that you have gone through with your brother, David, family dynamics can be incredibly complex, especially when it involves deep-rooted issues like jealousy, competition, and differences in life choices and achievements. It's very clear that you have made considerable efforts to maintain peace, extend support in the face of betrayal and aggression. Your situation reflects a tough reality that a lot of people face. That is loving someone who seems determined to walk a destructive path, despite all the effort to help them change the course. Your decision to try and broker peace by offering a portion of your inheritance to David, despite his actions, speaks volume of your character and your desire to resolve conflicts amicably. Well, there's nothing more you can do. The steps that you have taken to ensure that David is taken care of, even from a distance, shows that you still hold compassion for him despite everything that happened. It's important to remember that you can support someone from afar, but ultimately they are responsible for their actions. They are responsible for the actions and the choices that they made. They are. There's nothing that you can do about it. He made his choice and that is it, Your story is a reminder that sometimes, despite our efforts, we can't change others or the path that they have chosen to take. You have done your best. Your mom is with you. You have decided not to take her to the care home. And that's a lot of responsibility already for you and your sister. So you've done your best. For me, I think that you have done your best. That's the truth. Guys, what do you think about this story? Let's meet in the comment section and let us discuss this. Till next time when I come your way again, my name remains Bussy Davids. Bye.